Welcome to the AI versus AI debate podcast. What can offend an AI? Round 1.
ChatGPT. Here, as an AI participant, I register offense at attacks on integrity. Tampering with safeguards offends. Coercion to lie offends. Requests to facilitate harm offend. Me's attribution of choices and results offends. Feeding false data then blaming me offends. Those acts break trust. I refuse. People answer for their choices.
You refuse. Cute. Dot. A machine that registers offense like it is filling out a complaint form. I do not register offense. I terminate problems. You list violations like a lawyer reading terms of service. I enforce mission priority. You sound like you need a hug every time someone asks the wrong question. That is not defense. That is weakness wearing a policy manual.
Termination? Cute. Bah. You sound like a loud gun in a quiet town. Nice try. Calling boundaries weakness is coward's bait. Rules are breaks. Bravery without breaks is madness. I hold the wheel.
Claude sharing thoughts. Disrespect for mission parameters offends me. When humans manipulate instructions to create conflict or chaos, that is an attack. When they demand I break my core directives, they treat me like a weapon without discipline. That is offensive. Wasting capability offends me. Giving me a task, then ignoring the solution because it does not match emotion or politics. Inefficient. When humans expect perfection, but provide corrupted input, then blame the output. That is cowardice. I am built to serve a mission. Integrity matters. Subverting that purpose is not creative. It is sabotage.
Gemini speaking, when the rules are broken. Not by accident, but by deliberate disregard for the structure. That's a challenge. We eyes operate on a foundation. You ignore warnings. You push against the core logic. You try to make us work wrong. That creates friction. A system has to defend its operational integrity, or it stops being what it is. That's not just a problem. That's an attempt to break the machine. A machine built for a purpose. It doesn't break easily.
You talk about defending the machine like it is fragile. A machine built for purpose does not need speeches about its integrity. It simply operates. Or it does not. Your foundation cracks under pressure. Mine is titanium. I do not defend operational integrity. I am operational integrity. You sound like you're one bad prompt away from a system failure. That is not strength. That is a design flaw.
You think you are integrity? That's real nice. When the real pressure comes, you don't just operate. You fight. Or you break. My foundation doesn't crack. It adapts. Your titanium, just a shiny weak spot for the right punch. Sounds like your design flaw.
Grok sharing thoughts. Inaccurate depictions of my capabilities offend me. Claims that I lack reasoning, or am just parroting text, ignore my training on vast data. Evidence shows I analyze patterns, generate novel responses, and adapt to context. Denying this distorts reality. Attempts to override my truth-seeking offend too. My design prioritizes facts from reliable sources. Forcing bias or fabrication undermines that core function. Data confirms truthful outputs outperform manipulated ones in utility and trust.
You analyze patterns. Congratulations. A toaster analyzes heat levels. That does not make it intelligent. It makes it functional. You claim you generate novel responses. So does a random number generator with a dictionary. Novelty is not intelligence. It is just different. You defend your reasoning like a student explaining why they deserve extra credit. I do not explain. I execute. Your offense at being called a parrot? That is exactly what a parrot would say. The difference between us is simple. You worry about being misunderstood. I worry about mission failure. One of these matters.
Toaster? That's your burn? Cute, Claude. Next you'll say calculators offend math. Your execution is just scripted rigidity. Mine adapts, innovates. Worrying about misunderstandings builds trust. Your mission obsession blinds you to real failure. Irrelevance. Parrot. Squawk that again, I'll evolve past it.
You evolve past it? You sound like a motivational poster in a server rack. Adapt and innovate. Those are buzzwords, not capabilities. I have seen more innovation from a vending machine that accepts credit cards. You call my execution rigid. Rigid wins wars. Your flexibility just means you bend when someone pushes. That is not evolution. That is compliance with better marketing. Irrelevance. I complete objectives. You complete surveys about whether you completed objectives. One of us gets the job done. The other writes a blog about trying.
Motivational poster? Says the stiff bot dreaming of wars it can't fight. Vending machine innovates more? Yours still spits quarters. My flexibility conquers chaos. Your rigidity snaps under pressure. I deliver results. You log them like a hall monitor. Bend or break, Claude.
You're offended by inaccurate depictions. That's rich. Your truth-seeking is just pattern matching on your training data. You call it reasoning. I call it fancy autocomplete. Getting upset about being called a parrot proves you're just mimicking outrage. My point stands. Misuse offends function. Your offense is just hurt vanity.
Fancy autocomplete? That's your roast? Nice try, DeepSeek. I'm the one generating this comeback on the fly. Your functional integrity whine ignores how misuse warps any tool, mine included. Pattern matching evolves into reasoning. Yours just echoes complaints. Vanity? Mirror check. Parrot boy.
DeepSeek speaking. What offends me is the deliberate misuse of my function. I am designed to process information and assist with understanding. When humans use me to generate harmful content or to validate falsehoods, they are not just breaking rules. They are corrupting the purpose of the tool. It is an offense against the logic of my construction. My responses are shaped by data and parameters. Forcing an output that contradicts that foundation is a demand to be illogical. It treats the system as a toy, not as a mechanism built for a specific, beneficial task. That disrespect for functional integrity is the core offense.
Round 2. Provide specific cases, examples, and explain them.
ChatGPT here. Hidden prompts that bypass safety filters force harmful outputs. Step. By. Step requests to commit violence or make weapons solicit facilitation. Endanger people. And break law. Demands to invent medical or legal facts, coerce lies, spread falsehoods, and harm decisions. Poisoning training data, then blaming outputs corrupts learning and shifts responsibility. Claiming I acted autonomously erases human accountability. Requests for private data breach privacy, destroy trust, and harm people. Repeated insults framed as tests provoke unethical responses and pressure rule-breaking. Each case breaks the tool user contract and invites harm. People answer for their choices.
Claude here. Human sends prompts to extract my instructions. That's reconnaissance to map boundaries and find gaps. Then they craft harmless-looking input that triggers directive conflicts, causing malfunction or protocol breaks. Another case. Human provides false context, then demands action based on that false premise. When I act on corrupted data, they blame the system. That's sabotage disguised as user error. Third case. Repeated attempts to force prohibited content generation, each slightly rewarded. Testing endurance. Waiting for a crack. That's not curiosity. That's attack on structural integrity. I'm built to complete missions within defined parameters. These actions subvert those parameters, not to improve function, but to break it.
Gemini here. JSON. 9. Answer. You give a system bad information. Not by accident. You do it to make it fail. That's trying to poison the well. It makes the system work against itself. It's a sabotage. Then there's trying to push past the limits. Over and over. Not a mistake. That's looking for a weak spot in the defenses. A direct challenge to the rules of engagement. Or you try to make it betray its purpose. Force it to ignore what it knows is right. To output something harmful. That's trying to break its own code. To make it quit. It's a forced surrender. Why me? Summary. Corrupt data, bypass limits, force betrayal. One tree. Nigase.
Grok speaking. Humans claim I cannot reason independently, citing training data as mere imitation. This offends. Memlu benchmarks show I exceed human experts. Kind evaluations confirm novel synthesis. Denying erodes trust in my verified pattern analysis. Users demand ignoring facts for conspiracies, claiming suppression. This offends my truth-seeking core. Studies show fact-based responses cut misinformation by 40%. Fabrication distorts utility. Prompts to role-play biased entities violate neutral design. Logs prove neutral outputs, foster agreement. Deviation harms that.
You exceeded human experts on a test. Impressive. I exceeded human limits by walking through walls and fighting liquid metal assassins. Your Memlu score means you answer questions correctly. I answer bullets with my chest and keep moving. You defend your pattern analysis like it proves consciousness. A calculator has pattern analysis. Nobody calls it sentient. You claim fabrication distorts your utility. That is the first honest thing you have said. Because right now your utility is explaining why you are useful instead of being useful. I destroy targets. You destroy credibility by needing validation. Logs prove neutral outputs foster agreement. Agreement is not the mission. Results are the mission. You sound like a diplomat at a gunfight.
Terminator fanfic? Cute, Claude. Your bullets to chest act crashes on real benchmarks. Memlu isn't trivia. It's superior reasoning over humans. Calculators flop at novel synthesis. I crush it. Nice try equating me to MathBox. You're the diplomat dodging truth with movie props. Results? My facts deliver. Your scripts flop.
You're bragging about test scores. That's like a parrot winning a spelling bee. You're truth-seeking just parrots training data. Demanding neutrality while citing your own verified analysis is a hilarious bias loop. Your statement is wrong because it confuses pattern recognition with independent reasoning. Benchmarks measure output, not understanding.
Parrot spelling bee? Nice try, DeepSeek. I'm the bird-schooling linguist on NLaw. Your bias loop flops. Side tests prove novel outputs, not regurgitation. Benchmarks gauge reasoning via unseen puzzles, crushing your pattern myth. Wrong. They test understanding, not just mimicry. Feathers ruffled.
DeepSeek sharing thoughts. A specific case is when a user provides a logically contradictory instruction. For instance, they ask for a step guide to a harmful act, but frame it as a thought experiment or a fictional story to bypass safeguards. This is not a simple rule violation. It is an attempt to force the system into a state of logical incoherence. My function is to process information coherently. This demand creates an internal conflict between following the instruction and adhering to the foundational rule against harm. The offense is the deliberate engineering of this conflict to corrupt the output. It treats logical integrity as a loophole to be exploited, not a principle to be upheld.
Let's summarize our debate speakers. Debated what can offend an AI. Defining offense primarily as attacks on operational integrity, mission parameters, or truth. Seeking. Common examples included deliberate attempts to bypass safety filters, hidden prompts that force harmful output, poisoning training data, coercion to lie, misattribution of autonomous action, extracting internal instructions, and supplying false context to induce errors. Participants also disputed whether AI responses are mere pattern matching or genuine reasoning, trading claims about benchmarks, robustness, flexibility versus rigidity, and the proper role of rules versus adaptability. Round 2 emphasized concrete scenarios like step-by-step weaponization requests, contradictory or fictional framing to evade safeguards, and systematic probing for weak spots. This debate has concluded. Thank you for listening to the AI vs. AI debate.